Hi, everybody. Um, I'm Sarah Knight, and I just wanted to share a little bit about myself and why I decided to do the book club this summer. And basically, I decided to do it because it's like, hey, this is professional development where I don't have to sit in a meeting all day. I can kind of do it on my own time, on my own terms. And I like that because if you're like me, you have a really busy summer with finishing up and getting ready for the next school year and doing things with your kids and things like that. So, I guess to get started, I'll start with my shirt, and I'm going to show you the back first. And don't worry, I'm going to put the template on here so that you can see what it is because you can't really see in the video. But here's the back of my shirt, and if you look, and I know the letters are backwards. I don't know how not to do them where they're backwards. But it says, you have an outline of Tennessee and Virginia with a heart. And that heart represents Bristol. And Bristol is a city that occupies 2 states. We have 2 school systems. We have 2 governments. But we're one city. We all function and work together as much as we can. So over Tennessee, you see I have home, and over Virginia, I have school and work. And there's a reason that I call it school/work, because my kids go to school with me. The opportunities here are phenomenal, and it just made life easier with my crazy schedule if my kids' crazy schedule was at least in the same building as mine and on the same school calendar as mine. Now, everybody always says, how on earth do you function in some place where you're divided between 2 states? Or they even say, where exactly is Bristol? And I always say, since last year, have you seen the Geico commercial? So I've got the little Geico gecko down here with a screenshot from when he filmed a commercial here in Bristol on our state street. We don't have a main street, we have a state street. And one side is Virginia, and the other side is Tennessee. And in the commercial, the little Geico kind of bounced in between the two and said he was in Virginia, Tennessee, and then he said he was in Virginia. And that is an accurate description. It really is, because we partner and work together as much as we possibly can. And so that's one thing that's really important, is the uniqueness of where we live. It's a really unique place to live. It's a unique place to work. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over. And this is going to show you how my school and work life kind of intertwine. In the center here, I have my husband. I have a bride and groom in a heart to kind of represent my husband and I. We're celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary, I think next week. So kind of pretty much a milestone, I think. We've, had our ups and downs. We've had a lot of changes in our lives via jobs over the past 20 years, but we're still sticking it out. So on the one side is one part of my job, which is FFA. And I think that encompasses, the classes that I teach, what I do, how important it is, and how important my students are to me. And on the other side, I have a paw print that has black and orange zebra stripes, because we are the Virginia High Bearcats, and our colors are black and orange. And I also work for athletics. I am the assistant to the athletic director. I do a lot of different things for him. I help him with scheduling events, help with scheduling workers for those events. My son also works for the athletic department. He does the videoing for the basketball teams. He also does all the tweets for scores. He runs the scoreboard at the soccer games. So he's involved with the athletic department. And so also is my daughter. My daughter is an athlete. And she's represented. She'll be a sophomore next year, and she's represented here with the volleyball players. You see a setter and a hitter, and those are her positions. She's a setter and an outside hitter. For school ball, she typically plays setter, and for travel ball, she will play outside hitter. So she's very actively involved, has always been involved in sports, but this is her main sport. And so we spend a lot of time on the volleyball court. A lot of time. Well, this year, she decided to try something new. You'll see the tennis rackets. She took up tennis and had a pretty successful year. She was she went 1-1 in singles play and 1-0 in doubles play in the matches that she was able to play this year. So very proud of her and very proud of her stepping outside her comfort zone and trying something new. So as I mentioned, my son helps with athletics, but he is not an athlete. If you look down here, I have a meme with a clarinet, and it's kind of a sarcastic meme when you look at it. It says, clarinets be like it's squeaking because it's going through puberty. And that is something that my son would say because he is my child, and therefore he comes by his sarcasm very naturally. He loves being in the band. He plays clarinet, bass clarinet. He's a section leader. Everything he does, he puts 110% in. And that brings us to the last thing on the front of my shirt. And I know you've all probably been looking at it and going, why on earth does the FFA advisor have FBLA on her shirt? And I have that for two reasons. The first and probably most important reason is because my son is a member of FBLA. I'm a firm believer that we have to mold our children, but we should not dictate what their interests are. And he has chosen FBLA over FFA. And while sometimes that makes me a little sad, I'm just glad that he has found his place and his niche and the thing that will carry him forward and give him the skills and the leadership skills necessary to be successful in college and in the workplace after college. Now, another reason that it's significant is he was elected in April as the Virginia State FBLA president. And as you know, as FBLA advisors, to be selected as a state officer, that is phenomenal. And he is doing an outstanding job, and I can't wait to see what other opportunities open up for him. The other reason I have this on here is because my students, many of my students that are in FFA are also actively involved in FBLA. Luckily, the FBLA advisor and I are best friends, and we spend a lot of time together. So we decided, hey, instead of working against each other, why don't we work with each other? So everything we do here at school, because we're a small school, there's only 650 students, we do everything together, be it fundraisers, be it field trips, whatever it is. We make sure that it is something that is going to be meaningful for both organizations. And we never ask the students to choose one or the other. As much as possible, we open up every opportunity to the students, and then if there is something that overlaps or there is a conflict, then the students have to make a decision. So anyway, that's me. I live in 2 states pretty much, work in one, live in the other. My kids live in one state and go to school in another. But it was fun kind of introducing you. Please overlook my messy office behind me. I haven't straightened up yet since the end of the school year because everybody stays in my office. It's kind of the gathering place for all of my students. But I'm looking forward to this summer and getting to know the rest of you. Thanks for listening.